Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and today, guys, hold on to your hats or your toupees or whatever you got going on at the top of your dome, because we've got a song for you. And you know what? You won't have to wait, because here is You Won't Have to Wait by Uriah Heep from the album Conquest. Well, a lot just happened in that 16 seconds, didn't it? First off, the intro is really cool. It feels like it leads me in one direction, and then when it changes from hi-hat to ride, it feels like it's a completely different song, even though it's really not. It's such a minor change, but it feels very abrupt for some reason. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I'm missing what it's doing to me, but there's definitely something interesting there. But it's very powerful. I think the drum mix is a little quiet. I think the song could be a little bit more powerful if the snare was poppier, if that bass drum was punching your chest a little bit more. Bass drum's a little thin on this one. But overall, it feels really good. And then, of course, then we hit the trend of we have to have some kind of vocal in the opening of the song, whether we're singing the chorus or whether the vocalist is just doing some what's called vocalizing, and that's kind of what they're doing here. I don't know. It's weird. I'm kind of getting used to it. And I think that if there was a song that didn't have something, it might feel more awkward to me, because there's been so many songs that have now. But again, I'm not faulting anybody for it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just what they chose to do, regardless of the circumstances. And we've talked about that plenty before. But I'd like to hear what John does here, because it really shows his vocal range. He's got a good, powerful voice. It's used in a very interesting way, but it's definitely, he has a lot of skills. So here we go back to the song. Well, another interesting transition. It felt so smooth. It really didn't feel like it was changing parts there. And also, I love the groove of the bass during the verse. I think it's playing some really nice stuff during the chorus too. Really exciting song though. You know, we're only 39 seconds in, and I feel like I've listened to a whole song already. Oh, I love that little bass run right there. That was nice. What a great song. You know, this has got a lot of twists and turns into it. This is kind of more what I'm used to, or what I guess I expect with Uriah Heep, even though they did a lot of stuff that was a little more straightforward than, you know, their earlier years. But I just feel like there's so much adventurous playing in this band that it's really nice to see that making a comeback a little bit. Ken Hensley's playing just a lot of straight chords. He's not throwing in a lot of the things that he normally would. And that's kind of interesting, because it just keeps the song rich and full without, you know, I don't want to say distractions, because that's not the right word, but nothing else to focus on, I should say. And it's just a different style. Again, this album definitely feels different from any of the previous albums, but this is a good rock song. I really like it. really love that sound. I love that drums switching over to the ride cymbal and then Mick coming into the foreground there on guitar. It's a really simple part, but you know what? It sounds so good. I'm sensing just a little bit of wah pedal in there, perhaps, but it sounds good. I love the sound of his guitar. It's got a great distortion level on it. Yeah, this is some really good stuff. This song just grooves so well. It moves so fast. I mean, here we're a minute and 47 in. But it really feels like a full song even up to this point because there's just so much richness in the sound. There's a lot of passion in the vocal. It's got a really good beat set at a great tempo. Fantastic work. So that extra sound you guys are hearing, or maybe you're not, is the stick click on the rim of a drum. I'm going to guess probably the snare drum would be the most likely candidate, especially because he hits the snare at the end of each line. But it could have been a tom, and he just moved the stick back over to the snare for that last snare hit. But it does add an interesting sound. I kind of feel like there could be something easily over this, though. The solo could be starting here, but it's definitely a unique sound. I like it. Well, there was some nice layers in that part, weren't there? I really liked the build. I liked the riff of that. The sound of, the keyboards and guitars was really a nice blend, but it didn't go anywhere. I was really expecting that we were going to get a solo this time, and we didn't. And that's a shame because I think that this could have benefited from that. But the part they played was cool. It had a nice groove to it. I love what Trevor Boulder is playing on bass through all that. If I had any doubts about him up to this point, and, in the beginning, the first couple albums he was in the band, he really laid back. He wasn't the bass player that, in the style of Gary Thane or Paul Newton. He really laid back, played a lot of the root stuff, did a little stretch here and there. But man, what he's playing on this song is fantastic. Between that one popping bass note and then the grooves, he's just playing some great stuff here. Again, I hate to sound like, a broken record, pun intended. But to be honest, I'm just loving the transitions in this song. It goes so smoothly from one part to another. You really almost don't know it's transitioned until they go into the next part. You don't even feel it coming on. There's no drum roll or anything that would indicate a transition. It just flows so smoothly from one part to another. And I really dig this. I dig the tempo. I dig the groove. I think the sound is fantastic. It's a lot of keyboards filling things up again, but you can hear a little bit of the guitar in the background. Yeah, really cool stuff. Well, that's interesting. We have the addition of a shaker, and it's definitely in my left ear, but I feel like there's also a track somewhere near my right ear, but I can't place exactly where it is in the sound field. And I could be wrong. It just could be the echo of it. It could be, the reverb or maybe a delay panning it over to the other ear. But yeah, definitely a nice addition. Very cool. Wow, that is just a party that I feel could have gone on for a long time. Everyone just feels like they're having a great time. They're just enjoying themselves in the moment. They're letting go of any inhibitions and just playing and being together and enjoying that. You can't really ask for anything more. And there are a few songs, I've mentioned this somewhere early on, that I feel are just like a party that I don't want to end. And I hate when they fade out because it makes me feel like they go on without me, like the sun sets and the party still goes on, but I had to go to bed because the sun went down. That's never true. But that's the kind of feeling I have. And I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of the celebration because of the fade out. This was a pretty quick fade. So it has a different feeling to it. Like if it's a long fade, you kind of, seeing, the idea of the sun going down over everything, but it's still going on. When it's a fast fade, you feel like, yeah, it's pretty much they're done. At least I do anyway. But yeah, great song, great atmosphere, very powerful. The mix was almost perfect for me. And yeah, another one in the books, another one to enjoy on the Conquest album. And we will see you guys for the next episode that airs. Take care. Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!